it's hard to tap into having a clear direction when you're in pain.
Hello, and welcome to the new podcast experience. I'm your host, Ida, and you're about to listen to a conversation I had with a friend. Hope you get some value from it today.
Clarity is power. The more clear you are about what you want, the more likely you are to achieve it. Today we are talking about clarity, and clarity, it comes from taking action. You can't think it and be like, oh, I'm clear, so I'm gonna do it. Today we are having Ida. Ida is from Movement Maker, and Ida is the owner of Powerless Accounting, where they bring clarity to accounting for entrepreneurs and growing business. Her purpose is to change lives through financial education, and her podcast is about life.
This is a podcast about life. Welcome to the Ida Azefo podcast experience.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes. So, you guys, this is Ida, and I am loving your podcast style. Like you did like a rebrand, correct?
Yes, I did. And for me, all about clarity, right? Because it's been a journey. I started this whole journey wanting to help, especially people who came to Canada just like me and had no idea how the system works and wanting to bring clarity to them. But I shifted focus a little bit to wanting to help them in a different way. But my actual background is in accounting, and my skill set is in fixing up messes, whatever. It could be for individuals, it could be for businesses. But I'm like, who are the people who would actually find a lot more value in what I am doing and be able to afford the services and all of that? And that's why, as you were reading that out, it's bringing clarity to accounting for entrepreneurs and businesses and growing businesses, right? But at the same time, I do have all of this content which I put out there. I do have collaborations like this one. I do talk to people, individuals. I talk to businesses, with the whole purpose of bringing this clarity to the financial messes, be it for entrepreneurs, be it for individuals. And I have been trying to kind of put this into separate tiny buckets, but it's like spreading yourself too thin. It's the same message across the board, but trying to put it to different kinds of people, it's more stress for me.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be fun. So it's like, you know what? I am going to let the creativity process unfold as it is unfolding. And so I just changed the whole podcast, and I said, okay, you know what? It is actually a podcast about life, because it might just be my journey, but it's not only my journey. It is the journey of lots of people who are on this path along with me. So I'm like, you know what? Keep it simple. Just bring it all together. And so that's what I did on the new well, it's not a new podcast. It's been there since 2020 actually, or 2021.
Yeah. And what was the name of your old podcast?
The Reason You're Broke.
The Reason You're Broke. I love that. It's very catchy. The Reason You're Broke. And I love the rebrand of this, because I feel like when you started this, because you're broke, you're learning about your voice, about your style, about what you're here to offer. And then this is the new 2.0, and I love it.
Thank you.
How does that feel for you to have more clarity on the new podcast here?
It feels light. It feels very light, because money in itself is a topic that most people don't feel comfortable talking about. And so in doing The Reason You're Broke, it's like it's in your face, like this is the reason you're broke. And it wasn't just like accusatory. It's not like you're trying to accuse people for anything. It was more educational. But with the name of it being The Reason You're Broke, it was kind of hard to bring on other content which was not only about the reason you're broke. Because if I wanted to do certain things on the mindset, for example, of course it relates to mindset, but you have to find a way to tie it into money. And if then in the same context, I'm trying to talk to an entrepreneur and I'm talking about the accounting, okay, but how does that relate to my personal finances? But it's all the same thing. Yeah. So just simplifying this for me, like sitting back to say, okay, Ida, what is the message you're actually trying to pass across? What is it you really, really want? What impact is it you're trying to create? And just those simple questions for me say, you know what? This is it. Like, just keep it simple, change it, it's me. It's not the reason you're broke. It's not accounting for entrepreneurs. It's not helping new immigrants with any particular thing or with this particular thing. It's a podcast experience essentially. So it's the Ida as if a podcast experience right now. And it brings together the first podcast, the second podcast, and every other thing I'm doing right now.
I love that. I love that. And so how do you gain clarity on what you are doing? Like, what helps you gain clarity?
It's a journey.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's the first thing I'm going to say.
Okay.
It is a journey.
It
But
is.
also, right? Because like we're going to make mistakes, but as long as you keep learning from those mistakes, so long as, first of all, you have to have the longer vision of what is it you're trying to do? What is it that's super important to you? What are the values that you're trying to live by? Who are the people you really want to help? And if I'm able to have those things at the center of any decision I'm trying to make, it kind of is a funnel through which I'm going to filter everything. And if it's not falling in that bucket, then it's like, okay, it's not going in the direction that I want to go. So for me, clarity has been about identifying, okay, what is it that's really, really important to me, that brings value to people, but brings joy to me. And if I can continue to filter through that, then it makes it easier to stay in the clarity phase of, okay, yes, this is what you should be doing. This is what you should, but it's an ongoing journey. It's never easy. I'm sure you have the same experience or similar experience with things. Right?
Yeah. And I see that how people can go to you because a lot of people, well, some people have a mess in their financial life. And if they have a mess in the financial life in here, it's messy. When it's messy in here, you cannot have clarity. And having a mess in here and working with you, you give them clarity because you're like, hold up, what's in them, like messy in here for them? You don't see that. I mean, I'm sure that you can see it, but you don't have all that holding you down. So you're able to see their clarity for them and then to help them out with their financial, education or problems.
Yeah, that's very true. And you see this in so many different ways. I want to give an example. Not so long ago, I was talking to an entrepreneur and he brought me on to help to bring clarity to their accounting, right? And he didn't use those words. It's like, okay, this is the situation. Please come in, take a look and see what you can do for us.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it like, okay, well, it's not just a mess, it's a mess. Like you can't see it's not a mess, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's messier than you thought it was. And so this is what you need to do. These are the steps that I see for you. But at the end of the day, I could say everything that I want to say. I could explain everything that I want to explain. But if you don't identify that what I'm saying actually ties with what it is you're trying to achieve, then no matter what clarity I try to bring to you, you won't get it.
Yeah.
And so for this particular person, we've gone through a journey of okay, these are the things, and I actually made a full list. Like it's gonna be in stages. Step 1, we need to do this. Step 2, we need to do this. It's like 4 steps to this whole thing. So we're in the process of doing that, and then halfway down the road, it's like, hey, but there's something I didn't tell you when we were starting. I need this. I need this. I need this. I need this. Turns out the whole plan we gave to this person, we have to kind of change it halfway through the process. It's like, but if you only knew exactly what it is you wanted from the very beginning and not just agree to everything that was said, because I didn't impose anything. I'm like, this is what I see. What do you think? It's like, yeah, go ahead. But you didn't clarify to say, hey, this particular thing is super important to me. And can that system or can that thing you're suggesting handle it? Turns out like halfway through the process, certain things that are extremely important to you cannot be handled by the thing that I was suggesting. So we have to go back and like, okay, clarity.
Yeah. Because for me, when I think about clarity, because I do a lot of like inside work within him. So for me, it's like, if you are in pain or going through a heartbreak, you're not going to feel clear. You're not going to feel clarity. So it's hard to tap into having a clear direction when you're in pain. So for me,
Sure.
clarity is like mental and emotional. And for me, is helping people through breath work. When you are in a breathwork session, sometimes the stuff here that's messy inside needs to be released, needs to be taken care of, nurtured, or just about like letting it go before you can get clarity into what you want to do in life.
And how do you do that? How do you get people to clear what's in there?
In here, well, through the breath, because when you're breathing, I do somatic breath work. So when you're breathing, you're able to get out of the thinking mind and into your heart.
Okay.
So when you get into your heart, whatever is the breath is going to bring up whatever it is that that needs to come up, that needs to be looked at. It needs to be witnessed. So sometimes it's just daily stressors that are everyday life stressor, or sometimes it could be something from the past that you haven't resolved yet.
Yeah.
Because if you go through a day-to-day process and you don't get to like sit down and then think about what just happened, it gets repressed, you know, and layers of it gets repressed, and then you don't feel like yourself anymore. You feel like you can't be alone with yourself because the uncomfortable feelings arises. So that's why people watch TV, drink, watch porn, and, you know, they distract themselves from looking within here. And with the breath, you get out of the thinking mind and into the heart. And then you might like start crying. And you're like, why am I crying? And your body has the intelligence and the wisdom to heal itself. But the body is asking you to, can you come here and take care of me first? This thing that's holding me down, that's making me messy, is calling you to be witnessed. And through the breath, you're able to see it. You're able to feel it. You're able to be with it. And through expression, like, you know, like shaking your body or screaming or crying, you're able to release this emotion. It's just like a polar bear, how this scientist was hunting it down. Well, not like hunting it, but they're going to tranquilize it, but he got shot. And they're doing like some tests and stuff like that. And then they waited for the polar bear to wake up. And when he woke up, he started like shaking his body, like kind of like just going to, like there's a video of it, like just shaking off whatever just happened to him.
Yeah.
And that's how, because he was traumatized. The polar bear was traumatized, and he was shaking off his nervous system to get all that traumatized energy out. And then he went on his day. If an animal doesn't shake off his traumatic experiences, he's going to be weak in the jungle, weak there, that he's not going to survive long. And with human, we are the same. When we get into a traumatic state, do we shake it off? Some people just press it down and suppress themselves. And then they end up getting like dis-ease. They end up getting sick. They end, you know, they're just not clear. So as human beings, if we're able to like go through something and then feel those emotions and like learn how to release it, we could become more free. We're more clear. We don't have things like weighing us down. When things are weighing us down, it's hard to see. It's hard to be clear about the direction of your life. So with that, there is like clarity is like, you got to take care of the inside here and release all the things that's holding you down, so you can see, you can feel lighter and see things.
Yeah, you make a lot of sense. And as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about people that I have worked with when they were dealing with personal finances, right? Because usually you would see, for a person who's going through something, one of the first places that you would see, you could hide the emotions and everything, but one of the first places that you would see is your spending is out of control. Because they're looking for all those things that could distract them, because we can find those things to suppress, or we can find the things to distract. One of the first places you see is the finances start getting out of control. And so usually when I'm sitting with somebody on the personal finance side, and you see somebody who's in a huge mountain amount of debt, and you start to say, okay, Ida, can you, like, let's solve this problem. I'm like, okay, before we start, I could give you the strategies, I could tell you to do this and do that,
Yeah.
But if we don't address what it is that's behind that,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's going to change. I can give you all the tools, spreadsheets, and everything. Like, go do this. If you haven't clicked with it emotionally, knowing that next time you do this other thing instead of this, it's no point. And so what you're saying definitely aligns with the thing that I was thinking. Like, I have no training in this whatsoever in terms of like the feelings that are going on behind,
Yeah.
right? But it's a common pattern where you would see that happening. Like, one person I was talking to, she actually broke down. She's like, I'm like, okay, what is going on? Because I'm looking at your finances.
Mm-hmm.
You spend way more than what you make. You don't look happy. And like, we went through a series of things. And this session, which was meant to be a financial educational session, turned into some sort of a therapy session, and we went for like 2 hours plus talking about personal things, talking about life, talking about the things that were weighing her down.
Yeah.
And after that, she's like, I really needed to get that off my chest. And you're so easy to talk to. I wasn't even coming here to talk about this. We came to talk about money, and we haven't even talked about it.
Yeah.
But I'm leaving feeling so. So it's so true. And the question I have for you is, so animals know to do this, right?
Yes.
Like you were describing about the polar bear. It's a polar bear, right?
Yeah.
You were describing about the polar bear that shakes it off. But us as humans, is it because of our higher intelligence that causes us to not follow those natural instincts to work through it? We want to push it down. We're able to push it down. And so we push it down. And what is it, in your experience, what is it that's causing us to not follow what nature intends for us to do to deal with those stresses?
I think it's always been with us. I think we lost it through our culture changing, and everything is like we're just easily distracted now. And just think about like our ancestors, like from back in the days, like they knew what to do, but then through all the generations, like we lose parts of ourselves. And I feel like this is a time in life now where we're remembering who we are. Yeah. And it's just, we all have it. It's just, we don't give it time and space for the healing to happen, because it's uncomfortable. Who wants to feel like, like it don't feel good, to sit down with like your problems, but it's the only way. It's like, you gotta feel that shit, like all that guilt, all that shame, all that anger and hurt. Like, that's the only way through, is in.
It's easier to get distracted.
Yes, so easy, because who wants to face that?
Not only who wants to face that, but there are so many other things to pull your attention away from what you should be dealing with, right? Just look at social media, for example. We're here creating value with it, but there are people who would, and sometimes we do that as well.
Yeah. You
would be lost in the scrolling.
Yes, and it's like, shopping,
Did I just spend the last 15 minutes scrolling through feeds for nothing? But if somebody had said, sit down quietly with yourself for 15 minutes, like, it's too much.
Yes. Yes. And that's where I think people go shopping, like buying things they don't need, and that comes with emotional eating. Yeah. When that feeling comes up, like, oh, I need something sweet. I need something to like give me pleasure. And then that's where it is, where we're easily distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. So how do you find clarity?
How I find clarity is, for me, is emotional, mental and emotional. I have to take care of the inside first. So for me is tapping within to see where in my body feels, where is it in my body that's like blocking me from seeing or wanting what I want, or seeing what I want. And through like meditation, breath work, is where I'm able to like get out of the thinking mind and into the body. And once the body and the mind is aligned, I'm able to like see and like it gives me clarity. Sometimes what's preventing me from going to the next chapter of my life is probably something from the past that I haven't acknowledged or anything like that. And with breath work, you're able to tap in to see like, oh, this that happened to me like long time ago is preventing me from stepping up to the next version. And so being able to witness and see what's blocking me and releasing it through breath work. And that right there is like, for me, is going inside, healing my emotional, so I can see clear, like be more lighter and see like, okay, this is the direction I want to go. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's like, it's very.
It does. And it's a question that's coming up in my head right now because I think I heard you talk about this in the past about someone murdered your dad, right?
Yeah.
And then you had to go deal with that and you actually had to go see the person.
I seen him on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, during his
It's the reason it's coming is because you talked about what is it that's blocking you from going forward. And so I'm curious to know if that was one of the things that came up for you, like, okay, this is probably blocking me and I need to go back and forgive that person so that I can move forward. Was that part of your process or what? I'm
No,
curious.
I think the forgiving him was the part of my journey that it just made me take the leap of life of like creating your life. Because before I wasn't really creating my life. So with that, like I woke up and was like, dude, I can create my life. So I took responsibility of my life to create it intentionally.
Sorry, I feel like I just threw that out on you.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Well, I know our time is up here, but thank you so much, Ida, for joining me on this live. I admire you. You are a go-getter. You are killing it. Like the ambitious, the drive. You're amazing. You are
Well,
amazing. You are. And I just love your positive energy that you give off to movement makers. And when I see you on Discord, because I'm not on Discord much, you're doing it. You are supporting the community. And I cannot wait to see what the future has for you because I know it's going to be great. You are doing
well,
great, amazing things. And keep it up because you are inspiring me and others. So
well, thank you very much. I think it's so much easier now for me to do what I do because I'm surrounded by people like you, all the people in movement makers. When you're doing stuff and then you look around and you see, hey, but everybody is actually also creating a movement. It gives that energy. I think somebody used an analogy of a battery. It's like you have one battery and when it's dead, it's dead. But if the other ones around it can then give it a little bit of energy, then it keeps going. So I think that's what this community and movement makers is for me.
yeah,
It's just makes me know that I'm not alone. There are a lot of other people who are doing this and hey, keep going because you
yeah,
all are going to make a huge difference in the
yeah,
world. So.
yeah. I love that. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to end with or leave with today?
Just that clarity, no matter what aspects of our lives, if you can find clarity, if you can go within, be it spiritually, you go within and find clarity, or just using your head and you can find the clarity on know why you want to do something and go deep within and find a reason or a way or find an intention, then the way you're going to find a way to make it work. So long as you know what it is you want to do, the how is going to come.
The how is going to come. I love that. Well, thank you so much. And it's been an honor and a pleasure. And I'll see you around Movement Makers.